has some world affair knowledge, access, reading, they all think that this is done by bin Laden. It is not so. The Ghat Sutra mentioned here is a book I written, was writing for 7 years, reading 500 plus books. It talks from Titanic sinking to Corona 2 years back. These are the two terrorist acts of the 2 centuries. Titanic sinking was a terrorist act. Purposes were different, including Corona was the second terrorist act of this century. In between, there are several things happen in the world. The Ghat Sutra describes, right from the Titanic sinking, Federal Reserve Bank establishment, Russian Revolution, First World War, Great Depression, Second World War, oil politics, 9/11, Trump coming to power, .com, all those kind of the American share markets, all frauds, and then the Corona. The book is here for sale on discount. You can read that. But what I'm going to say in the first name of aware, we should be aware. Why? Because all these incidences where they did not happen, I mean they happened, but they made it happen by somebody who controlled this world. And my friend, please believe my word, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a reality of life. And now since we have risen as a country, as a India, now those all tentacles are touching us now. All their hands are reaching India. Because we are at their level of economic, as Sir said, 5th largest economy in the world. And that's why all these Hindenburg and other things are happening right now. Do you think if I ask you some question, your answers will be different? What you read in the history, but reality is very different. Do you think Russian Revolution is done to establish communist? Of course, it is done by Trotsky and Lenin, but they were funded by Rockefellers and Rothschilds, who were capitalists. Do you think Karl Marx has written a Das Kapital, which is a communist manifesto, what they call, is actually a concept written by Friedrich Engels, developed by Karl Marx, who is a blood lineage of Rothschild, who is the most capitalist, the richest capitalist in the world, even today. If I tell you, like I said, bin Laden has nothing to do with 9/11, because if you see the American currency note even today, it has our currency note has one statement saying, this is I promise to pay the bearer of this rupees 100. It's a promissory note behind which the government of India stands. Nobody can deny that note, it's a crime. It's an unbelievable crime. But American currency note printed by a Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank, and that note carries the wording, this is a legal tender for all debts, public and private. That is not, though the bank is called federal, it is not a government-controlled bank. Although the president is nominated by President of United States, president of that bank, but out of the 3 names given to him, he selects one, that's the authority he has. People do not even in India understand the Federal Reserve Bank is the biggest banking cartel happen in the world, because of which the most of the countries, they lost their direction in the economy. Bank of England is a private bank. Bank of France is a private bank. Deutsche Bank is a private bank. Bank of Netherlands is a private bank. All these banks are owned by bank cartel groups. That is what Ghat Sutra describes in very detail. You can read that. But the reason is because it's a globalization and it's a global economy. See, the time has come so long. Our own Bhishma said during Draupadi Vasraharana that Arthasya Purusho Dasa. And we forgot his saying. And now they are telling us Arthasya Purusho Dasa. Wall Street is telling us, and we are just following like a goat. In the globalization is another malice tool. So Lenin and Trotsky, they are funded by Rockefeller for what? For 950 tons of gold which Tsar used to own, Russian emperor. The entire European correction happened because of 2 world wars. The correction of culture, the correction of living, the correction of economy, the correction of resources, the correction of people, and the correction of peoplehood. That all got corrected as per their agenda in the two world wars. The triggering event can be some silly event. Denmark prince is killing somebody and some fire shot and something. But if I tell you Adolf Hitler, during his Holocaust, which killed 6 million Jews, outsourced this work of planning this project to an American company, you will not believe, but that's a fact, my friends. It was a $6 million contract in 1933 given to an American company because Hitler made a speech before doing this that I do not want to get a small boy of other religion, other caste, other can should not be yet killed in this Holocaust, only Jews. That's what it's a 6-phase project which was allocated to a company called IBM. And I mean it. My book has all the details, all the proofs. The Holocaust project was run by Hitler brother Himmler. And the Holocaust project card, which has a punching card for every Jew got killed, that's called alphanumeric numbers, which is the first time the whole punching card came in the world, which is a binary 1 and 0, based on which IBM brought the first computer. And that called Hollerith punch card. Hollerith was the founder chairman of IBM. If I tell you the oil, we all know the oil comes from Middle East, most of the quantity. But do you know the oil is only traded in dollar in the world? My own land product tomorrow, my rice is getting traded in dollar. Who makes that call? And for what? If I tell you that entire oil transaction happen in dollar, that's why with 21 trillion of GDP and 24 trillion of debt, America's dollar currency is floating because it attached to the most transactional commodity. It's same true with gold. And I'll remember this thread of oil and gold. I will come to that with a new currency code called data. I will come to that at the end. This is all linked. And if I tell you that entire oil game was played by Nixon, called a dollar game, against which they have given the complete technology to exploring the oil, and against that the deal was made with OPEC. OPEC was established for making that deal. This will be only traded in dollar in the world. It gets traded at 2 places in the world, New York and London. There is a Rothschild column in London. Bank of Rothschild, London, there is a Rothschild column where Rothschild's person sit every day morning at 10 a.m. and decide the rate of gold in the world. We all use, that is in dollar. The entire maritime trade is linked to the British pound. That's why a tiny country, maybe half of Tamil Nadu and half of Maharashtra country, nothing exports, nothing manufactured, but still its British pound is holding very high because the entire maritime trade is linked with that. These are the financial things which we don't understand because our entire culture is based on tyaga, sacrifice. And we don't understand artha. 4 purushartha hai, 4 purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Artha is very important after dharma. We learn about dharma. We listen to some profound speeches on dharma. But my dear friend, just to add to Adaraniya Jacob sir, that dharma is not a religion. That is another definition this Britishers thumped on our head. Dharma, Sri Krishna says in the 15th adhyaya, 3rd number shloka says, Swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayava. That time there were no Muslim and Christian religions. They are religions, they are not dharma. Dharma is way of living. So dharma, after that it comes artha. To make your moksha is not against salvation. That's a stupid translation. To go to that moksha, that fulfillment, you have to pass through artha after dharma, and artha is very important. On the artha, entire world is moving, and we are not understanding the globalization is a game played. If I tell you that there are 365 architects, engineers, and structural engineers, they were making very hue and cry in US after 9/11, saying that how a 195 feet long plane can demolish a building which has 7.9 Richter scale capacity for any earthquake. How much gallon petrol any plane has? 70,000 gallon, which hardly comes to what? 2,80,000 liters. That's a petrol bomb of that size. When it bursts, not a 7.9 Richter scale building will collapse. So that was made collapsing from another building called 47-story World Trade Center number 7. And I worked on Wall Street for 11 years. So I can tell you the lane and house by map of that place. It was just 1.5 lane and 3 blocks away from World Trade. From there, the detonator were operated. If I tell you, Great Depression was a very planned activity by these people, so that the American get demolished. After getting hold of their currency, which is dollar, they got hold of their personal wealth also by bringing Great Depression. My book has a very detailed graph of that, what they planned, what they achieved. America was devastated, and that time this credit system came. What is credit card? You are borrowing from future. Try to understand this concept very simply. If you don't understand Artha, there is no journey further. So Ghat Sutra will give you that inside idea, but moreover, I am coming to, when the speech is about India, I will come to that, how we are getting trapped in this. Because we are not understanding, we are not economically literate. And I don't mean to humiliate anyone, don't mean to insult anyone. I'm just trying to say, in our school, the Artha Shastra, which is economics, is taught in BA economics. BA is not topic of science. Bachelor of Art is a topic of ethics and philosophy. Artha is not philosophy, economics is not philosophy. It is a science of resources. And in this country, from beginning, it was taught in some philosophy and ethic topics. So nobody understand, nobody want to understand that. They think it is something spiritual. The biggest economist in the world is our mother, who throughout her life makes meet the need to the available resources in the house. That's what she does. That's what the finance minister of the country should do. I do not understand why we need a lawyer finance minister. There is nothing to defend. He should be a socio-economist. But alas, we have what we have. But unless we understand this, we will not be able to fight that concern. If you are not aware, you will not have any chance to arise. Forget about asserting, because knowledge is power. In all these things, what these people have done, they have literally brought the entire world to their knees. The World Bank, and I am making a very serious and very responsible statement. The World Bank and IMF are the mafia organizations. And if you think I am cooking this in my mind because I want to have some sentimental statements here, no. This is what has been said by Joseph Stiglitz, who is a Nobel laureate. Director of IMF said, these organizations have become mafia organizations. Take an example of Rwanda, how Rwanda was demolished. Rwanda is a miniature scale of India. Same fertile land, same multi-crop country, farming country, agricultured country. Got demolished because of these people. India is a big ship. It will take time to sink if we will not be aware. And that's what I'm trying to make it. So these people have their hands around India, very well rich. We think 1991 was the first globalization India has seen. Then what the Silk Route was doing? What Java, Sumatra spices were going all over the world? From which route? Was not that globalization? What was that? So you bring some term and put on us. And what has this globalization created for us? For an ancient country like India? A company, any American company, their economic geography map has become larger. American company or any oil company, if it's working in 50 countries, their graph geography is that. The borders are not physical now. The borders of economic borders. That's why you take first 100 economies of the world. There will be 59 companies and 41 countries. Countries by GDP and companies by revenue. So 59 companies have more revenues than most of the economies, economies of the world countries. Where country is not a company, it's a living entity. People are living in that country, they have culture. These people have created entire culture in the commodity. That exactly happened to Middle East because they got oil. So it's a very, very important turn of our life of this century. Like Corona, the last disaster and the first of this century, was a complete biological war. Why American president, even the president now came again, Trump, he said several times that China made this happen. Why there was no lawsuit in the Geneva court? I have gone to Wuhan 7 times. This Wuhan lab, where this, see, America by federal law, they do not test, they do not process any toxic material, and they do not do testing of virus. As a federal law which cannot be overcome by even president, American lands are not allowed for that. So that's how they have given their Center for Control Disease. They have given $5 million grant to Wuhan lab to process COVID family viruses. At one point of time, the viruses started mutating because that's what happens in virus testing. They started mutation and then the mutation went out of hand. And China thought this can be used as a biological weapon to kill the world, to kill the people in the world, to kill the economies of the world. And they were successful to some extent. But since America has funded that lab, what was the agreement? The agreement is online, you can read it. I heard they have revised by that WHO President Tedros. He has revised that agreement, I heard later on, to hide something because there was no clause of making the mutation report of every minute. And that's why we face Corona. For what? So these are the power games which will go on, and now center is India. After Corona, they found, see, I always ask one question to all these so-called intellectuals. In our Mumbai circle, there are too many of those socialist, communist intellectuals. I ask them a simple question, that if this country was of no self-respect, was of no entity, was a garib, what kind of a very poverty, below poverty line people living, all casteism, all divide, all stupid civilization, why the hell people kept coming here for thousands of years? Will you go to a dirt place and did loot? I mean, if I go into the history, Ghat Sutra, it will take a couple of hours to talk. I will not, that is not my topic. But 150 lakhs, 1.5 crore Hindus were killed by these invaders. 27 full ships of gold has left from Kajiko. This Vasco da Gama came to which that port? That port, 27 ships of gold went. There is their receipts. In my book, the entire details are there. They have gone to whom? Which country you have taken to? For what? The entire Ghat Sutra is now started playing around us. Ghat Sutra ka meaning hai, it is not Ghata Sutra, it is a Ghat. Ghat Sutra, there is no English word for this word, so I kept this word in English book also. I want to coin like a Kama Sutra, this word. And I want to do it deliberately because there is no English word. I tried to search for 3 years. Ghat is something malice act. And Sutra is, there is a theme of malice acting. That is Ghat Sutra. And now that what's happening in the world, after demolishing the country, correcting the European economy, making America #1 debt-owned country and #1 economy, making China not known economic country. We don't know what China is doing. They say 21 trillion, 12 trillion. I don't believe because there are something happening in China which nobody knows. After making all that, now they are telling that they are trying to touch India because India is on the rising. It's very important why our Prime Minister has done Atmanirbhar. Try to understand these schemes are the defending deep state. Ghat Sutra is nothing but an activity of deep state. And deep state activities are too much. I will give you 3 examples. What are covering us now? They are inside India through Hindenburg. They are trying to demolish Indian market by the probe of Hindenburg and all these. They are all, George Soros is a puppet of these people who are running this world, who are called kingpins. George Soros is a puppet of them. He was an employee of them, take it that way. He is, and still today. They are Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and Morgans. They are the kingpins. They own more than $1,500 trillion. No audit. There no companies are there. Wealth is not displayed in any auditing firm, in any auditing framework of the world. They were never asked question by any country in the world because they hold most of the banks in the world. We should be grateful to Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Because of him, this Reserve Bank is Indian. There was a Cripps Commission came to India. Sir will know better. And he said, they suggested to have a central bank. Ambedkar presented a presentation and then converted to a book called Problem of Indian Rupee. And because of that, he defended, so he fought with tooth and nail. And then Cripps told Mr. Nehru that no, the person what is talking makes sense. We don't want to put something which will create another disaster for you. Otherwise, these people surrendered to them for bringing a central bank. Our country, a country with fifth largest economy, 144 crore tomorrow's consumption or demand kind of population will have a government-controlled central bank is a big pinch they are getting. That's why all these economic disasters are started playing in share market, so that they will say this, there are no control of a bank on these people. The country's central bank is not, government is not worried, they are not understanding this. We need a private sector bank. That's exactly was in US in 1910. Before they brought this federal bank. And the three people who opposed federal bank was Benjamin Guggenheim. He is the mine empire of America. John Jacob Astor, who built the first trust in America. And Isidore Straus, who is the owner of chain Macy's. These are the three big businessmen in America who were opposing tooth and nail to the federal bank. Of these people's, all this malice intention of creating a private central bank, and they all got killed in Titanic accident. They all got down with Titanic. John Jacob Astor's wife, Eva, has written a book because she was let go on the ship. He said, I requested my husband to come because you are very important to millions of people in the country. You are a watchdog for this country. He said, no, until the last boy or the last small person in the boat or a lady leave the boat, I will not go to the lifeboat. There were no enough lifeboat. All that incidents day by minute I have written in the book. The issue is these people got killed and the oppose stopped. Federal bank got established. Rothschild got funded to Lenin and Trotsky. Trotsky has been given 20 million by a CIA director, flew himself to Europe, handed over the bag to there to get Tsar regime demolished. They got control of gold, because gold was the currency that time. Then the currency became oil. And now the currency is data. What Zuckerberg said a month back, maybe 3 weeks back, he said, yes, all the big corporations who work in metadata, they are very much in consultation with Pentagon, CIA and FBI. What data you are using on Facebook, I'm not saying you don't use Facebook, but try to understand what you are putting is getting somewhere collected. Data is a currency for tomorrow. Try to understand that. That's why Modi ji is putting huge pressure on Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook to have the metadata ownership in India. That's a different ball game. That's defending deep state. They will try to take out everything what you have. And this will go on increasing day by day. Since now we started we defended very much in the Hindenburg case, in the international court. Now they brought another thing against Adani. And now, with the simultaneously, Mizoram chief minister goes to US. And he talks about Mizo is a separate community and not part of India in United States. When he is a oath-taken chief minister of a state. That is funded, the trip was funded by whom? Find out. The same group where trip was funded of Rahul Gandhi in United States, where he talk all, sorry for the word, bullshit things in United States against India. Same thing happened in Sri Lanka. What is happening on the leftist movements in Sri Lanka now? After Hambantota exercise was failed, miserably, because there was no, the port doesn't have a business as China desired. Even they cannot control India from there because we took severe objections. Maldives is here and there, jumping like a ping pong ball. But we'll pull Maldives strings one day for sure. Now they started the biggest blow in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina's government going is not a blow to Sheikh Hasina, but to Indian sovereign government. They are on our doorstep now. We are all happy, eating breakfast and having lunch and dinner and enjoying friends and parties. We do not even feel that how the things are coming closer to us. But we have to think, man, because we are the people who is literate has no excuse of saying tomorrow I am not aware. A person who is fighting for life can say that I am not aware because he is fighting his day-to-day life. A person like you and me who are little bit literate, little bit can read, understand, have no excuse. This will be a blow to our own country if you are not aware. That's why I'm very grateful to these people that they put this conclave of aware with the word aware. Because aware is the first step. Aware makes you arise. And arise makes you assertive. And as Swaminiji very correctly said, the next A will be act. But for the economic periphery, madam, the first thing is to act now because we are aware and now we don't want to wait everyone 144 crore to get arise or, assert. We need to work, who will understand, we need to work on these economic tools. And that is the thing which will create a bad or good future for next generation and we'll all be responsible for that, both acts, good or bad. Because if we will not do our job, all our generation is taken birth after independence. So we really have not done much for our country as an independent country. So now this is the economic independence war which we have to fight and which is really coming on our doorstep with Bangladesh. Now Sheikh Hasina is still in India right now. Why we are giving her asylum? Now with Trump came, the things are changing a bit. Might be in a couple of months or so, she will get back to her position in Bangladesh. But before that, who came? Muhammad Yunus. Who is Muhammad Yunus? He got Nobel for what that? For that microeconomics, right? What he did for Bangladesh is find out. You will understand what I'm trying to say. And now why sudden a country's president goes away, somebody comes as an economist to rule the country, and suddenly Hindus getting attacked? And they are getting killed for what? Why this political war is getting converted to a racial war? Why Pakistan is suddenly getting interested in that? Why China is getting interested? Because they could, Sheikh Hasina denied them access to Chitgaon. And now Jinping is saying that we are there to solve our South Asian problem. Unrest in South Asia, it's our responsibility. Why is saying that? And why Trump is saying that what is happening in Bangladesh is not good. Now the forces started coming on the table of war. There may not be Third World War as a conventional war, but the wars is already ongoing. Last week I heard a report that there are some fake currency for 500 rupees are floated in India. Where from this currency came? Pakistan. Where from it came to Pakistan? Dubai. Who is up before that? Who is behind all this? Why they want? See, the economy is such a strong thing which we are growing with Atmanirbhar and other things. The farmers, salute to farmers of India. They are raising bar like anything in the world. And now this economy will get punctured. We'll have big blows at various places, from share market to the seeds of farming. Now Monsanto is again under a scanner now. Who is Monsanto? Is a seed supplier from United States. Who has stake in Monsanto? Guys, I have limited time to talk. My book will give you some guidelines for some direction, but I request you to read all the news behind the news. Why suddenly problem was erupted in Bangladesh? Think on that, you will find answers. But don't think it is Bangladesh problem, not our problem. What we have to do? We have to eat and sleep in the afternoon. It's very hot now, or it's very cold now, it's raining badly. These are not the problem. The problems are this. Now you will suddenly see some issue in Myanmar some month back. Now you see Nepal unrest. Now you will see the next point is Bhutan. You will see the borders on the geopolitical side, the borders will be made unrested. Then the domestic economy will be punctured. Lot of things will be challenged. And then we all will think one day that this is a rotten country, this is Banana Republic. There is no point in leaving. All our sons and daughters, they will go to United States for their further education. Which is not a country which is a big mall. I stayed there for 17 years. I know inside out. I drove that country for 9 lakh kilometers I drove. I know that country several times I drove. It is big mall. It is not a living way. It is a arrangement which, people think that common man is safe, but they are not. I will give an example. There's a payroll system in United States most of the company use. That payroll system is owned by Rothschild. Every day they come to know that how many household people have how much in their saving bank balance or saving account, how much money is idling. Based on that, they bring the Wall Street securities. The subprime crisis was a part of that. $4 trillion got vaporized. Our economy is not even $4 trillion yet. All these things are not Arabian Nights stories. They are right now lively happening around us. And we are the next on their target. Gatsutra book, when I was writing and when I written that Hitler has used IBM for Holocaust, people, my friends in United States, they said, don't write, they will kill you. When the bell rang, it says it's a truth. It's a truth. I'm finishing, don't worry. So they call me, don't write such thing. And now since the English Gatsutra has came, the threat has started coming to me. I'm not worried about threat. It's okay. What I have done with my full responsibility, and I will pursue that. I'm trying to transfer this book in Arabian language also now. Because one of the Arabian friends told me that this is our problem you have written. The loan of the interest of the bank loan is our problem. So you have helped us. I want to translate it. I said, I find somebody who understands English and Arabian both. Then I will allow, because I don't know what you will translate. But thing is, we need to be aware at our small, whatever work area, your living sphere, you have to be aware of this fact that we are on the focus now as a country. Our Prime Minister, there will be attempt of, on his life in future. And I'm not predicting, I'm not astrologer, I'm saying these are the things, because the political stability is the biggest hurdle for them to make anything happen. Even with 240 numbers, there is a very political stable government. Thanks to our friends in that government. But instability will create a problem because the decision happens through political system. The economic decision of making Reserve Bank as a private bank will happen through political system. So now they are making sure that the political system get challenged from all angles. And as sir very rightly explained, this caste and religion, they will all come in picture now, all come in focus. At your level, my friends, let us follow this A3 slogan. Let us be very aware of what is happening around us. Let us rise from our day-to-day tiny world and try to be a citizen of this country. And let us be very much assertive about what is in the interest of our country to our last breath and last drop of the blood. If that oath we take, then I think the A3 is successful. Thank you very much.
Yes, 40 minutes. Thank you so much, sir. That was demystifying so many data points, and maybe we should say that you need not rip apart truth like this and make us understand so many facts and be aware of so many things. May I now request Mrs. Vidya Surender and Srinivas, Advocate Mr. Srinivas, to honor our guest of honor here. Voice of Covai is indeed to honor Deepak Karanjikar. Deepak Karanjikar's book, Ghat Sutra, is available here in this stall. People who are interested now in deep state and to want to understand the demystifying points, the book is available in the stall and you can make use of it. Thank you so much. அடுத்ததாக நம்மிடையே உரையாற்ற விவசாயிகளின் முன்னேற்றத்திற்காக பாடுபடும் விவசாயிகளுக்காக பல போராட்டங்களை எடுத்து நடத்தும் பெரியவர் திரு நல்லசாமி அவர்களை மேடைக்கு அழைக்கிறோம். போராட்டம் நிறைந்த வாழ்க்கை அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு திரு நல்லசாமி அவர்கள் ஒரு உதாரணம். தினமும் விவசாயத்தை விட அதிகமாக அவர் சந்திப்பது வழக்குகளை தான். பல்வேறு வழக்குகளை தினமும் சந்தித்து விவசாயியின் நலனுக்காக போராடி வரும் திரு நல்லசாமி அவர்கள் இப்பொழுது நம்மிடையே உரையாற்றுவார்.
குடிதழியி கோலோச்சும் மாநில மன்னன் அடிதழியி நிற்கும் உலகு. குடிமக்கள் நலனில் அக்கறை கொண்டு தொலைநோக்கு பார்வையில் சிந்தித்து வரும் தலைமுறையை முன்னிறுத்தி நல்லாட்சி நடத்துகின்ற ஒரு மாநில ஆட்சியாளன் பின்னால் ஒட்டுமொத்த உலகமும் அணிவகுத்து நிற்கும். கடனறிந்து காலம் கருதி ஆன்றோர் அவைக்கு வணக்கம். பிரச்சனைகளுங்கிறது எல்லாத்துக்கும் பொதுவானது. விவசாய பிரச்சனைக்கு தீர்வு ஒன்று தான், அதுதான் நிரந்தர தீர்வு. விவசாய கமிஷன் பரிந்துரையை ஏற்று செயல்படுத்துவது மட்டுமே. இப்போ அரசுகள்லாம் இலவசம், மானியம், சலுகை, கடன் தள்ளுபடி, காப்பீடு, நிவாரணம், வருமான வரி விலக்களிப்பு போன்ற சலுகைகளை அளித்து வருகின்றன. இவைகளெல்லாம் இடைக்கால தீர்வைத்தான் கொடுக்கும். இவை விவசாயிகளுடைய தன்மானத்துக்கும் சுயமரியாதைக்கும் விடுக்கக்கூடிய சவால்களே ஆகும். அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, நம்ம நாடு நீர்வளம், நிலவளம், கனிவளம், கடல் வளம் அனைத்து வளங்களையும் கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நாடு. நீர்வளத்தை பகிர்ந்தளிக்கணும். சுற்றுச்சூழல் பாதிக்காத வகையில் நீர்வளம் பகிர்ந்தளிக்கப்பட வேண்டும். அப்படி பகிர்ந்தளித்தால், இன்னைக்கு எரிபொருளில் 85% இறக்குமதி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறோம். பெட்ரோலியம், சமையல் எண்ணெய்னு வரும்போது 70%, பருப்புன்னு வரும்போது 60%. அதுக்குத்தான் மானியம் கொடுக்குறோம். அதைத்தான் பங்கீட்டு கடைகளில் சந்தைப்படுத்துகிறோம். உதாரண சமையல் எண்ணெய்னு வரும்போது இந்தியாவில் விளையக்கூடிய தேங்காய், நல்லெண்ணெய், கடலெண்ணெய், கடுகெண்ணெய், விளக்கெண்ணெய் இதுக்கு மானியம் கிடையாது. இதை பங்கீட்டு கடைகளில் சந்தைப்படுத்துறதும் கிடையாது. இறக்குமதி எண்ணெய்களுக்கு தான் முக்கியத்துவம் கொடுக்குறோம். இது முற்றிலும் மாற வேண்டும். அப்படி மாறினால் மட்டுமே நாடு வல்லரசாகும். நாடென்ப நாட வளத்தன்ன, நாடல்ல நாட வளர்ந்தரும் நாடு. எந்த ஒரு சூழ்நிலையிலும் எதற்காகவும் அந்நிய நாடுகளிடம் கையேந்தாமல் அனைத்து வளங்களையும் தன்னகத்தை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நாடு தான் வல்லரசு. எதற்காக வெளிநாடுகளில் நாம் கையேந்த வேண்டும்? அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, காவிரி. இந்த காவிரி நீர் பங்கீட்டுக்கு என்ன தீர்வு? நிரந்தர தீர்வு, மோதலுக்கு முற்றுப்புள்ளி வைக்கும் தீர்வு, இறையாண்மை ஒருமைப்பாட்டுக்கு வலு சேர்க்கும் தீர்வு. என்ன தீர்வு? தினந்தோறும் நீர் பங்கீடு மட்டும்தான். கர்நாடக காவிரியில் வரக்கூடிய நீரை தீர்ப்பின் விகிதாச்சாரப்படி கர்நாடகாவுக்கு 284.75 டிஎம்சி, தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கும் புதுச்சேரிக்கு 177.25 டிஎம்சி, கேரளாவுக்கு 21 டிஎம்சி. எப்படி பெட்ரோல் டீசல் விலையை தினந்தோறும் நிர்ணயம் செய்து அறிவிக்கின்றார்களோ அதை போல வரக்கூடிய நீரை தினந்தோறும் பங்கிட்டு அந்தந்த மாநிலங்களுக்கு கொடுத்து விடுவதாக இருந்திருந்தால் எதற்கு உறவு கெடுது? எதுக்கு மோதல் வருது? எதுக்கு இறையாண்மை ஒருமைப்பாடு ஒரு கேள்விக்குறியாகுது? 28 ஆண்டு கால சட்ட போராட்டம், அதுக்கு பின்னாடி 7 ஆண்டுகள், இந்த கடந்த 35 ஆண்டுகளில் கர்நாடகா எப்போ திறந்திருக்காங்க தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கு? இனிமேல் தேக்கினால் கர்நாடக நீர்த்தேக்கங்கள் உடையும். அந்த நீர்த்தேக்கங்களுடைய பாதுகாப்பு கருதி தான் தமிழ்நாட்டையும் புதுச்சேரியும் வடிகாலா வச்சு தான் திறந்திருக்கிறாங்களே ஒழிய, தமிழ்நாடும் புதுச்சேரியும் காவிரியில் கடைமடை உரிமை பெற்ற மாநிலங்கள்னு திறக்கவே இல்லை. இன்னைக்கு திறக்கல, நாளைக்கு திறக்க போறதில்லை. அப்புறம் எதுக்கு 2033 வரல காத்திருக்கணும்? எதுக்கு? 28 ஆண்டு கால சட்ட போராட்டத்தில் சரியான இலக்கை நோக்கி இந்த வழக்கு நடத்தப்படவில்லை. தினந்தோறும் நீர் பங்கீடு என்ற இலக்கை நோக்கி வழக்கை நடத்தி ஒரு தீர்ப்பை பெற்றிருந்தால் தீர்வு எளிதாக இருக்கும். இதை பற்றி யாரும் பேசுறதில்லை. மேன்முறையீடு எதை கேட்டோம்? 4 மாநிலங்களும் எனக்கு கூடுதலாக தண்ணி வேணும்னு தான் கேட்டோம். தீர்ப்பை நடைமுறைப்படுத்த முடியாதுன்னு யாரும் சொல்லலை, இன்னைக்கும் சொல்லலை. அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தமிழ்நாட்டு பிரச்சனை. உலகத்தில் எங்கேயுமே கல்லுக்கு தடை கிடையாது, தமிழ்நாட்டை தவிர. தமிழ்நாட்டிலே மட்டும்தான் கல்லுக்கு தடை வச்சிருக்காங்க. இப்போ பல அரசியல் கட்சி தலைவர்கள், தமிழ்நாட்டு மக்கள், நான் வெளிப்படையாக சொல்கிறேன், 7.5 கோடி மக்களுக்கும் மது விலக்கு, மது கொள்கை மற்றும் போதைப் பொருள் பற்றிய புரிதல் இல்லவே இல்லை. கல்லுனா டோடி இஸ் நாட் இன்டாஸ்கேட்டிங் இல்லைக்கா, இட் இஸ் பார்ட் ஆஃப் ஃபுட் ஆஸ் பர் ஆர்டிகல் 47 ஆஃப் த இந்தியன் கான்ஸ்டியூஷன். இட் இஸ் நாட் இன்டாஸ்கேட்டிங் இல்லைக்கா. என்ன கேட்குறாங்க? தமிழ்நாட்டில் கல்லுக்கு அனுமதி கொடுக்க வேண்டும், அரசு கள்ளுக்கடைகளை திறக்க வேண்டும். இவை இரண்டுமே புரிதலின்மையினுடைய வெளிப்பாடுகள், அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டத்துக்கு எதிரானவை. எதற்காக தமிழ்நாடு அரசிடம் கல்லுக்கு அனுமதி கேட்க வேண்டும்? 1950 ஜனவரி 26 அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டம் நடைமுறைக்கு வந்தது. அந்த சட்டம் கொடுத்திருக்கும் உணவு தேடும் உரிமை தான் கள் இறக்குவதும் பருகுவதும். கலப்படத்தை காரணம் காட்டி தமிழ்நாடு அரசு அநியாயமாக இந்த உரிமையை பறித்து கொண்டது. பக்கத்தில் பாண்டியில், கேரளாவில், தெலங்கானா, ஆந்திரா, அண்டை மாநிலங்கள், உலக அளவில் எங்கும் கல்லுக்கு தடை கிடையாது. அங்கே கலப்படம் செய்வாங்கல்ல, அந்த அரசுகள் எல்லாம் கலப்படத்தை கட்டுப்படுத்துகின்ற பொழுது தமிழ்நாட்டில் எங்களால் மட்டும் கலப்படத்தை கட்டுப்படுத்த முடியவில்லை என்றால் தமிழ்நாடு அரசு ஆளுமை இல்லாத அரசா? ஆளுமை இல்லாமல் போனால் ஏன் ஆட்சி பொறுப்பில் இருக்க வேண்டும்? இதையல்லவா கேட்க வேண்டும், இதையல்லவா சட்டப்பேரவையில் ஒரு உறுப்பினர் பதிவு செய்திருக்க வேண்டும். மாறாக கல்லுக்கு அனுமதி கொடுங்க, கள்ளுக்கடைகளை தரங்க, புரிதலே கிடையாது. கேட்க வேண்டியதானே, under what authority you are holding such an office as a chief minister of Tamil Nadu? அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டப்படி சத்தியவாக்கு புறமான ரகசிய காப்பீடு தானே கொண்டிருக்கீங்க. அதை மதித்து நடக்க வேண்டிய கடமை பொறுப்பு உங்களுக்கு இருக்கா இல்லையா? இல்லைன்னா யூ ஆர் நாட் த சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் ஆஃப் தமிழ்நாடு. இப்படியெல்லாம் கேள்வி கேட்டிருக்கணும். கள்ளு கடைகள் வேணும்னு கேட்குறாங்க. ஒரு மரத்துக்கல்ல 48 நாட்கள் ஒரு மண்டலம் தொடர்ந்து பருகி வந்தால் பல நோய்கள் குணமாகும். கல்லுக்கு ஏலம் கடை என்று இருந்தால் ஒரு மரத்துக்கல்லு கிடைக்குமா? வாய்ப்பே இல்லை. பல மரத்துக்கல்லு தான் கிடைக்கும், அதுபோது கலப்பட கல்லாக தான் இருக்கும். அப்படி ஒரு நிலை வருகின்ற பொழுது அரசியல் அமைப்பு சட்டம் ஆர்டிகிள் 47வது பிரிவில் சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கும், except for medicinal purposes of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health. இந்த வரி பொருளற்று போய்விடுகின்றது. ஆகவே அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டப்படியும் உலகளாவிய நடைமுறைப்படியும் கல்லுக்கு தடையும் கூடாது, கடையும் கூடாது. தமிழ்நாட்டில் 7.5 கோடி மக்கள் இருக்காங்க. யாராச்சும் ஒருத்தர் வந்து கள்ளுமுறை தடை செய்யப்பட வேண்டிய போதைப் பொருள் தான் மதுதான். இறக்குமதி மதுக்களும் இந்திய தயாரிப்பு அயல்நாட்டு டாஸ்மாக் மதுக்களும் கல்லை விட நல்லவை. கள்ளியக்கம் கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய கோரிக்கைகளில் நியாயமே இல்லை. நிரூபித்து விட்டால் கள்ளியக்கம் தன்னுடைய நிலைப்பாட்டை மாற்றிக்கொள்ளும், தோல்வியை தவறை ஒப்புக்கொள்ளும், வெற்றி பெற்றவருக்கு 10 கோடி ரூபாய் பரிசும் கொடுக்கும். பல ஆண்டுகள் சொல்லியாச்சு, 19 ஆண்டுகளாக சொல்லிட்டு வர்றோம். இந்த பரிசை எளிதாக பெரும் விதமாக சென்னையில் அசுமேத யாகங்கள் நடத்தணும். அந்த யாக குதிரையை தடுத்து நிறுத்தி வாதிட்டு கள்ளுமுறை தடை செய்யப்பட வேண்டிய போதைப் பொருள் தான் மதுதான் என அரசு தரப்போ அரசியல் கட்சிகள் தரப்போ நிரூபித்து விட்டால் கள்ளியக்கம் நிலைப்பாட்டை மாற்றிக்கொள்ளும், தோல்வியை தவறை ஒப்புக்கொள்ளும், 10 கோடி ரூபாய் பரிசும் கொடுக்கும். யாருமே வரல. எது கட்சி எதுக்கு ஆட்சின்னு கேட்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நிலை இருக்கு. அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பத்ம விருதுன்னு ஒரு விருது கொடுக்குறோம். பத்மஸ்ரீ, பத்மபூஷன், பத்ம விபூஷன். 2 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி 129 பேருக்கு கொடுத்தாங்க. அதில் ஒரே ஒருத்தர் தான் விவசாயத்துறை சாதனையாளர். ஒரே ஒருத்தர் தான். 129 நபரில் ஒரே ஒருத்தர் தான். நாடு விவசாய நாடு, விவசாய நாட்டினுடைய முதுகெலும்பு. ஆனால் பத்ம விருதுகளில் ஒருத்தர் தான். ஏன் மக்கள் தொகையில் 60% இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு ஒரு 50% கொடுக்கலாமல்ல? ஏன் அந்த 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 தொழிலை ஊக்கப்படுத்தலாமல்ல? இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கக்கூடிய ஊக்கப்படுத்த வேண்டிய ஒரு நிலை இருக்கணும். அடுத்தது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, மேலை நாடுகளில், வளர்ந்த நாடுகளில் தடை செய்யப்பட்ட தொழில்களுக்கு சிவப்பு கம்பளை விரித்து விட்டதனுடைய விளைவு, கடந்த காலத்தில் விட்டதனுடைய விளைவு, நிலம், நீர், காற்று, ஆகாயம் எல்லாம் மாசுபட்டு போச்சு. இன்னைக்கு நாடு உலகத்தினுடைய குப்பை தொட்டியாக ஆக்கப்பட்டு இருக்கின்றது. இதற்கு தீர்வு கண்டேதான் ஆக வேண்டும். நீங்கள் அடுத்து இந்த கலப்படம்னு சொல்லும்போது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, கலப்படம் இல்லாத இடமே கிடையாது. உணவிலிருந்து உயிர்காக்கும் மருந்து வரலும் கலப்படம் எல்லா இடங்கள்லையும் இருக்குது. பாலில் 69% கலப்பட பால்னு மத்திய அரசு ஒத்துக்கிறாங்க. பழங்கள் அத்தனையுமே கார்பைடு போட்டு தான் பழுக்க வைக்கிறாங்க. சமையல் என்ன கலப்படம் இல்லாத எண்ணெய்களே கிடையாது. உணவிலிருந்து உயிர்காக்கும் மருந்து வரலும் எல்லாம் கலப்படம். இந்த கலப்படத்தை இரும்பு கரம் கொண்டு அடக்கினால் பாயில் படுத்து நோயில் சாகக்கூடிய நோயாளிகளோட எண்ணிக்கை குறையும். அப்படி ஒரு நிலை வருகின்ற பொழுது இப்போ இருக்கக்கூடிய மருந்து கடைகளில் 75% காணாது போகும். மருத்துவமனைகளில் பாதி மூட வேண்டியதாக இருக்குது. மருத்துவ படிப்பின் மீதான மவுசு குறையும். நீட்டு காணாமல் போகும். நீட்டை ஒழிக்கிறதுக்கு இதுதான் வழி. யாராச்சும் பேசுகிறோமா? அதை பேசுகிறோமா? அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இன்னைக்கு இருக்கக்கூடிய நிலையில் சீக்கிரம் முடிச்சுக்கிறேன். அரசியல் கட்சிகள் ஆட்சியை பிடிப்பதற்கும் பிடித்த ஆட்சியை தக்க வைத்துக் கொள்வதற்கும் தேவையற்ற இலவசங்களை முன்னிறுத்தி கொண்டு வந்தால் இந்த நாடு பெரும் நெருக்கடிக்கு ஆளாகும். ஜனநாயகம் கேள்விக்குறியாகும். திட்டமிடல் வேண்டும். ஒரு திட்டம் தீட்டுகின்ற பொழுது விளையும் நன்மை என்ன, தீமை என்ன, இரண்டையும் எடை போட்டு விடை கண்டு நன்மை கூடுதலாக இருந்தால் செய்ய வேண்டும், தீமை கூடுதலாக இருந்தால் கைவிட வேண்டும். நன்மையும் தீமையும் நாடி நலம் புரிந்த தன்மையான் ஆளப்படும். பொங்கல் வரப்போகுது. பொங்கலுக்கு வேட்டி சேலை கொடுக்க போகிறாங்க இலவசமாக. அந்த வேட்டியினுடைய விலை 50 ரூபா போகும். இன்னைக்கு விவசாய கூலிக்கு குறைஞ்சது 600 ரூபா தினம். ஒரு நாள் வேலை இழந்துட்டு தான் இந்த 600 ரூபா வருவாயை விட்டுட்டு தான் அந்த வேட்டி வாங்கிட்டு வர்றாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கிறது 50 ரூபா, இழக்கிறது 550 ரூபா. இது அந்த தனி நபருக்கு மட்டுமல்ல, ஒட்டுமொத்த தேசத்துக்கு இழப்பு. இப்படிப்பட்ட திட்டங்கள் தேவையா? திட்டத்தினுடைய இலக்கங்க. அடுத்து ஒன்றுங்க, எது வேண்டாம், சமூக பாதுகாப்பு கொடுத்துருங்க ஒவ்வொரு குடிமகனுக்கு. உண்ண உணவு இல்லாமல், உடுக்க உடை இல்லாமல், இருக்க இடம் இல்லாமல், போதிய மருத்துவ வசதி இல்லாமல் அனாதையாக இறந்து விடக்கூடாது. இந்த சோசியல் செக்யூரிட்டி கொடுத்துருங்க. எது வேண்டாம் எங்களுக்கு. முடிச்சுக்கிறேன். சட்டத்தினுடைய ஆட்சி தேவை. இது ஒரு ஜனநாயக நாடு. சுதந்திரத்தினுடைய விலை மக்களுடைய விழிப்புணர்வு. இதுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு தீர்வு. இதனால் இவன் முடிக்கும் என்றாய்ந்து அதனை அவன் கண் விடல் என்ற அடிப்படையில் வாக்களிப்பது மட்டுமே தீர்வு. வாய்ப்புக்கு நன்றி.
The former Sri Nallasamy started off with water sharing, talked about the farming practices and how natural farming is very important, and finally made his pinpoint with no freebies as the most important point he focused here. May I now request Sri Gokula Das, former Joint Director, Environment Engineer, Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, to honor our farmer Nallasamy Chinimalai, and a volunteer of Voice of Covai. Voice of Covai is proud to have Sri Nallasamy here with us. Mikka nandri ayya. May I now request Swami Anukulananda, Resident and Director, Chinmaya International Residence School, to address the gatherings. Over to you, Swami.
Hari Om and pranams to everybody who assembled here. My name is Swami Anukulananda. From the morning we've been hearing a lot of people who have been speaking so powerfully. Of course, there is air conditioning, but we feel very hot in our heart. There are just 2-3 statements which I would like to speak about and bring your attention to that. The first statement is yatha drishti tatha srishti. The question is, how does yatha srishti become tatha srishti? In between, there are two things. Yatha srishti becomes yatha bhavana. Yatha srishti becomes tatha bhavana. Yatha bhavana becomes tatha karma. And yatha karma becomes tatha srishti. So therefore, the drishti is the most important point, because that becomes emotion, emotion becomes action, and action becomes results. So that is why even from the British colonialism, they focused on drishti, because drishti ultimately becomes srishti. So therefore, there are two areas, two venues which were captured and which is being captured so strongly. One is education of children and youth, and second is social media. So in schools and colleges, the student is indoctrinated using education. The moment we finish schools and we finish colleges, we are indoctrinated using social media. So until these two things become populated by dharmic values and dharmic ideals, the change that we want to bring in the mindset of the